Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Sempre Milan bonus podcast on Substack. This week, we are going to be going through the questions that have been submitted to us as a bit of a mailbag special, and we're also going to be taking a look at the kit leaks ahead of the 2026-27 season.
It sounded like you just ripped ass.
Yeah, it did, yeah. I've got a squeaky chair here. I clearly haven't built them right. But yeah, that didn't rip ass, I promise. Although I must admit, in the first half last night, there were times when I was shitting it a little bit.
Ooh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, we were recording this the day after we won against Como away from home, so we're feeling pretty good.
Know that meme, and I think it's I show Speed, and he's like got his headset on, and he just like closes his eyes and smiles. Yeah, that was the exact face I made when they scored, because I was, I went to work into the office to watch it because I had to be there in the middle of the game, so I just went early. Said I was in a meeting, locked the conference room door, and just watched. So I had the volume down, and I couldn't like scream or yell or anything. So I just like, here we fucking go. I felt so sick, but we won. And we'll talk about that on the main.
Yeah, we will. We will go into that because some interesting narratives have come out afterwards. But the winner celebrates, the loser explains, as it goes. And Fabregas did a lot of explaining. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, that game happened. So we're feeling pretty good today ahead of the weekend. We pulled 3 points behind 3 points behind Inter and Napoli, who drew with Parma. We gain on them, so we're now 3 above them. Nice little gap in the Champions League places has opened up too now. It kind of pushes Como a bit further down, although we face them again inside a month, and I'm sure they'll be keen for revenge. But yeah, it feels a little bit better than it did after 2 draws against teams that are in a relegation battle at present. But because we did a 4-game episode on the main pod earlier in the week, which ended up lasting an hour and 15, it might be our longest ever. Genuinely, it might be. Although it's probably Scudetto one might have been more, or the top 4. But in terms of just being a normal one, yeah, we went to town on that. And it meant that we didn't have any time to do any questions. And we got some good ones. And I don't like ignoring them. So we said we'd do a mailbag special. And here we are. I'm going to start the questions now, if that's okay. We'll end with the kits thing. Great. Oh, hi, Mats.
Hi.
Mats. Yeah, I should probably just call him Mats, but, I'm just reading his Discord username, so yeah. I don't know. Can we stop pretending Rafa is a striker? We know what a striker can do, the hold-up play, the instinct in the box, the jewels in the air. Leao's an extraordinarily talented footballer, but why do we keep going with this charade? A bit of an explosive one to start there.
Yeah. I get where he's coming from, because the things that he does well are winger things, right? Like even Rabiot's goal that Rafa had the assist on, that was from the left, cutting inside, and the chip over the back line. I mean, that is something that a winger does. So I get where he's coming from. I don't think he's been bad as a striker. Not my favorite. I mean, I was complaining about him yesterday. Obviously, he still got the injury, but
yeah.
Look, we before we talk about changing his position, or rather reverting it back to what it was and should have been, I think there's going to be an uncomfortable conversation this summer if his injury doesn't heal up the way we want it to. I think there might be an opportunity to cash in there, knowing that he'll have what is essentially a chronic injury for the rest of his career. You just don't see, I'm going to butcher it, but the thing he had, you just don't see that really heal up very often. Typically, it's a long-term lingering thing that just sticks around. So I think there might be a discussion come April or May if we have some big offers, and if we could get 70 to 100 for him, I think we cash in and use that to hopefully rebuild the squad correctly. But hey, it's AC Milan. Who knows what will happen? Maybe it'll be a renewal.
Yeah, it's interesting. I do think the thing is, we've been talking about a crossroads with Leao for the past 3 or 4 years, pretty much since that, since the season after the Scudetto, when he actually put up better numbers, and it was like, well, he didn't let us down. He held up his side of the bargain. And then from there, it's been a struggle to kind of maintain consistency for him. No two ways about it. Fitness issues have come in a little bit this season, which of course is not ideal, because I think he's someone who thrives from having a run of games and being able to get into rhythms of matches. But you can clearly see in the past few games that he's been playing with discomfort. And if you remember, a couple of weeks ago, I said, that Allegri had said he'd got a adductor problem, and that I said that'll throw everything else out. And now we're talking about lower back pain. Sure enough, when you run funny, you train funny, and everything, it all has a knock-on impact. But the problem is, we're in this stretch of games at the moment, and the forward depth has been so it's been a carousel basically of who's fit and available at the same time. He has to play. He has to play through the pain, and we know Allegri admitted he's been playing with the handbrake on because he can't accelerate. That is the biggest part of his game, So what I'm trying to say with that is that I can't really judge things on the last few games with Leao, and therefore I'm still sort of jury's out on him being a number 9, because I think for him to work as a number 9, and we've seen it with goals like the one against Lazio, which was the winner at San Siro, for his style of being a number 9, it's all about movement. It's all about making the runs right time, right area, being on hand to finish, be it from close range or because he's quite tall with his head. He doesn't do that enough because it's not his natural position. And if you can make those runs because you're not physically fit enough to do so at that point in time, again, it's hard for me to judge. But stylistically, looking at him as an overall player in a package, I'm still oriented towards thinking that he's more of a second striker in a front two, because he does the most damage when he drops off into the spaces, usually off the left side. We saw it against Como. He sets up the winning goal with a lovely dink over the top. But basically, when he gets one-on-one with defenders, he still scares them shitless, and that's when good things happen. It doesn't always lead to something, but I saw a stat, which we put in the stats piece. This season, Leao has earned Milan 14 points in Serie A. His goals and assists. 7 goals, 2 assists have led directly to 14 points. So you can argue he's as decisive as ever, paradoxically. All this, I think the umbrella over the top of all this is what Allegri thinks. And at the moment, we all trust Allegri, right? Because he's delivering the results. And from day one, he came in and said, no, he's the number 9. And I think part of that is as much what he can't do versus what he can. He doesn't work hard off the ball. We know this by now. He's never going to do it. If Allegri couldn't get him to do it, he's not going to do it. So instead he says, I'm going to stick you somewhere where, you're kind of out of sight, out of mind until we need you to spring into action. The problem is, and it caused a little bit of a debate in our group chat last night, when he isn't doing anything, he's not doing anything. He doesn't sort of cut out the passing lanes, make himself, big to try and stop another team playing out of the back. He certainly doesn't press hard, but we perhaps can't expect that while he's not 100%. And he just doesn't seem to get involved in the play. His holding up of the ball and his choices in possession were a bit suspect in the first half last night. So basically, he can be really frustrating for large parts of games, but then pop up when you need them. And that to me sounds like something that's not going to change now with him. So we need to decide if that's what we want. Max needs to decide if that's what he wants moving forward, or if it is the right time to move on and get in someone who can do everything that he wants, rather than just putting someone there as a compromise.
Yeah, and I'm not saying he's become a bad player or anything like that. He's still great. I'm comparing him to like a car that needs an oil change and the owner's just neglecting it. You could drive on a car that needs an oil change, but eventually you can't. And that's where I'm getting with it, is like, at what point does the injury become insurmountable? And that's when I think, okay, is it time to trade it in, get a new vehicle? That's what I'm thinking now. I mean, in the car world, the obvious thing to do is just get the damn oil change, but it's not as simple with a human. So we'll see what happens. But that's kind of my dark take on the Leao situation right now. Something to keep an eye on as we approach the end of the season here.
Yeah, and I also think that we should say at this point, if it happens to be that a really good offer comes in for Leao that tempts him, and I don't think he is the type to agitate for a move. I think, I've always spoken about Tonali's attachment and Reinder's attachment. The one who's actually shown it is Leao by never really wanting to go, carrying on, speaking he's always spoken so well about Milan. When he's been asked, what about moving to a big club? And he says, Milan are a big club, like one of the biggest. I really think he feels it, and he's settled, and he's got obviously the young twins too. But if an opportunity did come along that turned his head, he's entering his prime years now, and he thought, I need to go for this because otherwise I might end, not getting close to the Champions League or whatever it is that he wants to do. Then I think he'd leave with everyone's best wishes too. I don't think it will be that Pato type, what might have been, because of the injuries and stuff. It's a different discussion, but it's like, no, he gave us a lot of very good years. And at times we were guilty of not surrounding him with the right stuff too. It's an interesting one with Leao. To sort of circle back around to the original question, I don't think that the only way that we see Leao in a different position is if Allegri changes system, and we've seen more and more hints that could happen, in which case I think he returns wide left, to be honest, because then it would be Fulkrug down the middle, or even Nkunku, because in that Fiorentina game where we ended the game with the 3 forwards and Nkunku scored the equaliser, it was Nkunku down the middle. So Max actually clearly sees him as a bit more of a central player. So maybe if there's a change to 4-3-3, even a 4-2-3-1, unlikely, then maybe he goes back out on the left. But for now, I think he's playing to his strengths and his weaknesses by playing him down the middle. I've just read on here from Nico Shearer that we have recalled Francesco Kamada, and Milan News is saying that there are indeed discussions underway to terminate his loan. We should probably mention that here. Wow.
Yeah, that's news. It makes sense.
Let me read.
Read it.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm just going to read what Milan News say. So he suffered a shoulder injury, which the club confirmed is going to keep him out for around about 15 days. So he wouldn't have played against us on Sunday. That bizarre rule where you can play against your parent club. So it's possible that with agreement between Milan and Lecce, Kamada could return to us to be monitored by the medical staff during his recovery. Interesting. Now, why that would result in his loan being terminated, I don't know. But it's not uncommon for players that have an injury that's going to keep them out for a while to return to their parent club for treatment. Just because he's our asset, and we want to make sure that he's. But yeah, let's mention it again. Would you consider recalling him, or is Fulkrug enough?
I've really liked what I've seen from Fulkrug. I think his hold up, his link play, it's really good. I mean, he wins every header, and it's always headed in the right direction for a counter, for a goal, whatever it is. But yeah, it's hard because if you asked me 3 weeks ago, bringing Kamara back is not only an answer, it's a solution. But now he has just had a shoulder operation. You're saying 15 days. I bet it's a little longer, because why recall him if it's only 15 days, right? Like, he could just stay at our medical staff. I don't think Lecce would have a problem with that, and then go back. But he wasn't getting game time, so it's interesting. I think there is a spot for Kamada in this team, especially in the 3-5-2. But I don't know. I mean, it's a good option. Maybe Nkunku to Galatasaray is accelerating. I did see this morning, there's a clip of Max right after Nkunku's penalty where Max gets mad, and the lip readers are saying he says he took a shit penalty or something like that. I mean, it was right of the keeper, but it was a rocket and it went in. So what are you going to be mad about?
A good penalty is one that goes in. Exactly. Did you see also that Leao threw a bit of a tantrum because he wanted to take it?
So I didn't think it was a tantrum, but I did see it live. I saw him point and say, like, me. And then obviously Max was off screen when this happened, but then he just kind of walked away. So whatever.
Yeah, I think the teammates stepped in, didn't they, and sort of said, no, it's Chris's.
Which is interesting, because it was the equalizer, not a go-ahead. If it was the go-ahead, then or the third goal, I could see him being like, all right, let's see if he could do it real quick. But I mean, look, I like that Max wants the players to all get confidence, especially the ones who need it. But I don't know. It was interesting. Weird. Now, I will say Leao didn't throw a big fit about it. He asked, was told no, and he kind of just accepted it, which is, again, a sign of someone who cares about the club and will do what he says. He's a good soldier. But Yeah, interesting all around. Back